Now I know why it took whole day. So you guys add ash and applied and took bath. Ready for initiation. Great. All others also, even though you are not shaved, you had the ash and applied and took bath. Good. Now we will start the process. First few things. Understand, this is the psychological part of the physiological process. Actually, the whole program is going to be just based on body. Physiology, again and again and again. It's going to be working on physiology. The psychology part will be just one or two, very few, but very important. Swatmarama does not believe in sitting and talking and black sheep and all that. No. There is no blah blah. He is the precise, most powerful master. Powerful, precise. No blah blah. But wherever he gives instructions, he is very straight and strong. First thing, ahimsa. Please understand, ahimsa means non-violence, not as you understand, as it happens. See, whatever in a space you are in, strongly act. That's all. That is compassion. Be compassionate to yourself. Understand? When Swatmarama talks about compassion, this is the exact description he is giving. Be compassionate to your thought pattern, to your response mechanism. Let me explain. Compassion, ahimsa and satya. Next topic is satya. Please understand, satya does not mean talking the fact, talking the truth. I am initiating you into an important thing. This is exactly satya. Satya means talking the truth. Truth is your Atman, soul, your cosmos. So from today, continuously, this whole next 48 days, you will not address yourself, remember yourself as body. You will constantly talk of yourself only as cosmos. Please understand, it's not a small joke. You will remember yourself and talk about yourself only as the soul, consciousness. The highest understanding about consciousness and soul, what you carry, that is you. So you will talk only in that way. That is what meant by the word truth. Please understand, all of you. Satya has to be practiced. Ahimsa has to happen. But you guys are doing ulta. You are practicing ahimsa, which is fear-based, and you are waiting for satya to happen. You understand what I am saying? You think, oh, let me realize I am Atman, then I will talk. But you are practicing compassion. Why? You don't need to do anything. And you can go on, justify your weakness as what? Compassion. Yesterday he was talking why when Krishna did so many things, he punished the Rakshasas, demons. Why you are compassionate? Come on, print out the whole thing and upload it in the blog. You first take a step. You understand? That's all, nothing else. So all of you take the responsibility. Each one. Compassion has to happen. Satya has to be practiced. But you guys are doing complete opposite. That is why the process never happens. The funny thing is, the Vedanta talks the other way. Compassion should be practiced, Satya has to happen. So it is very lazy thing. So you guys are very happy with that lazy thing. That is why never transformation happens. Never transformation happens. I tell you, any transformation happens by this kind of the revolutionary Hata method only. The doer. Swatmarama is the doer. But we are very happy with the philosophy where you just stop, nothing needs to be done. You understand? Nothing needs to be done. Swatmarama is a doer, powerful doer. And it delivers the result. And it transforms. It shows the result is there. And the experience is there. Please understand. Now, you are completely, I'm shifting the whole, the method of process, the thinking. There are systems where your right brain, left brain is divided, and just whatever flows in that way, things are interpreted. As I said, the compassion is to be practiced, truth has to happen. So with this teaching, you don't need to do anything, you see. Just your weakness can be painted. That's what I call. I say, in the left, nothing is right. In the right, nothing is left. In the left, nothing is right. In the right, nothing is left. That's the way we are living. That is the exact way we are living. But here, the Swatmarama is shifting the attention, shifting the whole energy. Now I tell you, Satya, truth has to be practiced and compassion has to happen. End of this process, whatever compassion happens in you, let it happen. It will happen. But don't bother about any idea which is not happening. There are some things which you need to practice. Let that practicing be done. First thing, today, you need to understand this. Satya has to be practiced. Please understand. Now I am initiating you into Satya. Ultimate Satya is you are the cosmos. You are divine. You are consciousness. You are soul. Feel yourself. Express about yourself only as cosmos. Whatever you understand as cosmos, as divine, as the highest possibility. You will have some imagination. The highest possibility is my Swamiji. Our highest possibility is Shiva. Our highest possibility is the light. You will have some understanding as the highest possibility. Understand, from this moment you are that. Talk and think you as that. You forget thinking you are that, or speaking you are that, you are lying. You understand what I am saying? The definition of truth, definition of Satya. Anybody else? All of you are able to understand? If you are not able to understand, please raise your hand. I will explain it very clearly. All of you are able to catch what I am saying? See, I am actually awakening the non-mechanical parts of your brain very strongly. Understand the Satya, concept of Satya. Now, I am telling you very clearly, all of you believe, are unable to understand. I know about you much more than you know. I know about you much more than you know. So now I am telling you the truth. You are cosmos. You are the highest possibility you understand. Don't visualize the idea which you don't understand. There is an understanding in all of you as the highest possibility. Highest possibility means health, energy, ability to do anything. This may be your understanding, your visualization. So understand, now I am saying you are that. Whatever highest possibility you visualize. Can you take 2 seconds and bend down? What is the highest possibility? God, cosmos, soul, consciousness, any word you can use. What do you think as highest possibility? Can you just write few lines, just 2 minutes? Want you to remember clearly. Please describe in a very detailed visual way of what you think as highest possibility. Indians are really intelligent fellows because of this Hatha Yoga. So their dress, their food, everything is will create health and awakening of the higher consciousness. So So try to wear that kind of, our brahmacharis are wearing that panchakacham. But sari is not a intelligent dress. It's not Indian actually. It's not originally from Indian system. It's from Parsi. That they brought it, they brought it and they brought it and became Indian. Of course, the traditional Indian dress now you can't wear. 3 pieces of long piece they wear. One in the hip, one in the chest. You just cover. The Juna Akadas, some of the computer makes the head completely empty. All my computer engineers I saw, all the fellows who are working with computers I saw, head stops working. Two plus two, they'll run for computer. And then finally type the wrong letter, go on typing that. For 2 plus 2, they would have typed backspace for 4 times. If you count out how many times they type the backspace, you will find out how 2 plus 2 is what. So this is Satya. Understand the meaning of Satya, truth. The highest possibility you can visualize is you. Tomorrow itself, this possibility will suddenly expand and grow into new understanding. Then you are that. As on now, you are that. Whatever highest understanding you have about you is you. Whatever highest possibility you think can happen is you. So from this moment, whatever you wrote, the highest possibility, idea you have about the highest possibility as on now is you. Understand this one truth. All of you trust that I know about you all much more than you know about you. Any of you have, no, I don't think you know about me much more than me. Any of you think? If you think, then I know about you much more than you. Now I am telling you very clearly the truth. The truth is what you wrote as the highest possibility. God or consciousness or cosmos or the soul. You are that. You are that. This is the truth. Now I am initiating you into the practice of the truth. From now, you will remember, talk, position, express yourself. I am giving a legal standard. Remember, talk, position and express yourself. Remember yourself, talk about yourself, position yourself, express yourself as that highest possibility, that God. I'll give the name. As and now, we need to have one technical term so that we can repeat easily. So for that, I may give the name, maybe soul. Let us have that word soul as the technical term. But that soul means, just like in legal doctrine nowadays they say, hereby this is all of us put together called we. So, all this put together called soul. What you wrote now is soul. So from now, you are soul. You will remember, you will talk, you will express, you will position yourself as soul. From this moment, understand, anything other than the soul, if you are trying to remember yourself or talk about yourself, you are telling a lie. So this is the Satya, the first instruction, the first initiation. One more thing. Now continuously you will be opening many parts of your biomemory. So every time when you remember that you are the soul, that will get into your system. That will just get into your system. It's almost like a melting each and every part. Each and every part will melt it. So this constant remembrance will get into the system. Please don't have cap. Actually, you are asked to shave the hair for the 3 samana. You are feeling uncomfortable? Cold. Huh? Just 1 or 2 days. If you are not able to handle after a few days, then here. First, do not try to handle. Because for the free flow only the very sharing has been done. The samana, if you starting from today, you will be working on samana, is the prana which you inhale through the whole body, using the whole body. It is very little quantity, but very intense. That is responsible for anti-aging. In my experience, the monks are the people who live for a long time. In my experience, I have seen these Ramakrishna sadhus, these Tibetan Buddhist monks, these fellows will not die. They will just sitting 150 years, 110 years, and the disciples are waiting for the throne. And these fellows will not move. I've seen. And these guys get into the seat and go on enjoying the whole life. I've seen. The average lifespan of India is I think 62 or something. For upper middle class, not for middle class and lower middle class and middle class, very less. I am talking about upper middle class. This Ramakrishna fellow's average age is 103. Really, these sadhus, Ramakrishna sadhus, 103 is the average age. Nothing, no worry, nothing to be done. These fellows live and the disciples are waiting. This fellow will move and I can sit. Anyhow. It's because of their lifestyle, the Hatha Yoga mixed lifestyle. So it brings tremendous health. The samana is responsible for anti-aging. I myself have seen sadhus who are 103, above 100, have 70 by, the blood pressure is 120 by 70. Above 100, perfect blood pressure, 62 pulse rate, no specs, no extra fittings like a teeth or anything, no walking stick. If the moment you see, you know very clearly, next 10 years this fellow is not going to move. And he is going to be sitting here comfortably. So, it's because of samana. And every day they have the dasmasna. They will have the ash and taking bath in Ganges. You should take bath in a large water body where 100 times more water is stored than your body weight. So these are all the instructions. You should have the possession less than your body weight. You should take bath in a water body which contains at least 100 times more than your body weight. So that it carries enough of prana and your body is rejuvenated. Taking bath is not just cleaning the body, it is sending a sensitive prana inside body. So don't worry at all about taking bath in this Vaidya because that machine is there, continuously it is purifying. That purifier is not using any chemical, it is using only oxygen. So from now, you are that. Consciously, constantly remember not to tell lies. Means, remembering yourself as the ultimate. You have lived around, of course, whoever has lived around you know. When I talk in my mother tongue, even now I don't use the first person. Even now, no first person. Swami. Even English. But now I am managing English because the people from different culture are not able to understand. When I address Swami, one day I was giving a big discourse, addressing me as a Swami, end of the discourse, they asked, who is that Swami? I said, oh God! Then I decided I don't want to confuse people. So I started using the word I and me. Anyhow, but next 48 days, you are not going to use the word I and me. It's going to be fun now. It's going to be fun now. And I don't know what word you are going to use to address yourself. You can use the word, whatever word you want, you pick up. That I don't know. That is what you are going to do. If you want, you can have maybe 1 or 2 exemption, like when you talk to your family or sending some email or communication, not to confuse them or frighten them that you became crazy. Maybe at those moments, but that also, the moment you finish writing, remember, oh, I told a lie. I told a lie for practical, for them to understand. Out of your compassion for them, that's all. Out of your compassion for them, you told a lie. Except those one or two rare things, I really wanted you to be completely truthful. You will see now big chaos happen. Actually, big chaos will happen. Way in which you think, walk, talk, everything will be in chaos. Big mess. That is the ultimate beautifulness. That will really settle a new personality. Now, how will you say I am angry? You cannot say. How can cosmos be angry? How can soul sleep? How can soul be tired? How can soul be thirsty? Nothing can be done now. Go on talking, go on telling. Nothing else. And after 4-5 days, you may have a little higher understanding of soul. The moment it happens, you are that man. Upgrade. G4. Upgrade yourself to the highest understanding again and again and again. That is Satya. Satya is not stuck with some facts or ideas. That is why a normal person cannot understand that I am established in Satya. I suddenly say, oh, we have 150 ashrams. You have only 40. If you know the number, you are in big mess. What? Just now I counted, we have only 41. Please tell straight, telling 150. What is going on? Because I am seeing 150. What to do? But fortunately, whatever I see only happens. By that time, see, when they write books, I tell, hey, put us 150 ashram in 33 countries. By the time they print it and bring the book, it is there. What to do? So, establish yourself in Satya. Whatever you say will become Satya. Whatever you say will become Satya. So, this is the first step, Satya. Thoroughly rearrange your inner space with this Satya. If you have any doubt, put it as a question. Now I will clarify. Thoroughly rearrange your inner space as Satya. Rearrange. First step. Second step, the compassion. As I said, be compassionate to yourself. Sharing enlightenment is the ultimate compassionate act. Whoever is doing things against that, don't be compassionate to yourself. Act as per the law of the room, law of the country. Act as per the law of the land. And what you think as compassion, go with that. What state you are there, go with that. Active compassion, not frightened, fear, being justified as compassion. Third important thing, aparigraha. Understand? Aparigraha means living with less things, living with minimal things. You need to understand this truth. Living with minimal things. It is not a morality, it is a science of enlightenment. Now, go to the room and pick up all the things you have. For next 48 days, can I live without this? Pick up each thing. Pick up each piece you have. One piece dress. Can I live without this for next 48 days? If you think I can, then drop it. Like this, reduce your luggage. Understand? Of course, car, bed, all those things are not yours. That ashrams is provided. Whatever you brought, pick up one by one and see. Next 48 days for this weather. Can I live without this? Will I be able to maintain without falling sick? Without this item? So pick up every item and check. Understand? I really wanted you to be honest, sincere, trying your best. Trying your best. Of course, whatever you drop, you are not going to drop it. Keep it separate. Tight and keep it separate, you will not touch it. When you go back, you carry that and take it back. If you go back. Understand? Let me share some of the strong experiences, personal touch I had with some of the sadhus who mastered this aparigraha. One sadhu who mastered Hatha Yoga. His name is Vairagyananda. Powerful sadhu. He lived, I think, maybe above 100. He was living in Haridwar. Last few days of his life, the so-called sickness means naturally body has to deteriorate and leave. Yes. So he was kept in the Ramakrishna hospital. He was direct disciple of Sharada Devi, Ramakrishna's wife. Any of you have heard about it? Let's say one of the greatest happening in the female body is Sharada Devi. From my level of understanding, whatever I know about spirituality, I am not able to see another one happening in the woman body, female body like Sharada. She is the greatest happening, phenomenon in the female body in spiritual plane. This guy, this Vairagyananda, he was a small brahmachari. He goes to Sharada Devi asking for initiation, mantra diksha. So he expected she will give the mantra of the Ishta Devata of him. His Ishta Devata was Shodasi. Shodasi means Rajarajeshwari. If you see in our ashram, near the flagstaff, one Devi deity will be sitting with 4 hands. Sugar cane in one hand and the flower in the other hand. 4 hands she will be sitting. The left leg down. That deity is Shodasi, Rajarajeshwari. So that deity is Ishta Devata. He goes and asks, the deity which is sitting on the swan, standing on the swan is Rajarajeshwari. The golden swan, and that is Rajarajeshwari. So later on you can go and see here. She had 3 things. 4 things: Angusa, Vasa, the flower, and sugar cane. So he went and asked, give me the mantra diksha. But she was in such samadhi and ecstasy, she just gave her own name. She said, chant my name, Sharada Devi Namah. This fellow was a little offended. Oh, I thought she will give mantra of my guru, my God. She was so arrogant, giving her own name as mantra. As usual problem. The moment he thought, she just smiled and said, what for you are asking mantra of your Ishta Devata? He said, if I chant continuously, there is a traditional faith, if you chant Akshara Laksha. See, Shodasi's mantra is 16 letter, syllable. If you chant that mantra 16 lakh times, you will have darshan of that Devi. Shodasi. He said, if I chant Akshara Laksha, means each syllable 1 lakh time, 100,000 times. Means how many syllables are there? For example, our Om Devi Nityananda, in that we will see the 11 aksharas will be there. So 11 lakh times you chant, you will have the darshan or a strong etheric connection with the master, and the energy transmission will be directly happen. That is the wherever you want, whenever you want, he will appear. This is the traditional faith. So he said, if I chant Akshara Laksha, I will have darshan of Devi. She just laughed and said, look, and he saw Devi there. He just saw Devi sitting there. And she just gave a Shodasi, darshan as Shodasi. This fellow was completely shaken. This Vairagyananda. Then he fell at her feet and said, my life is yours, please give me sannyas. Then she gave sannyas immediately to him, without even delaying one day, one moment. Very rarely masters give sannyas. Very rarely. Even I have not given sannyas like that to him, not a single person. The moment they ask, all right, have it. Never I gave. Ramakrishna gave like that for few, and Vivekananda gave for few. Sharada Devi gave for few. Vivekananda gave for his first disciple. It's a very beautiful story. One station master, Vivekananda was traveling once in the North India, the third class compartment. One Sheikh means the Banya, the businessman, community person. He was sitting at the noon, he started eating. And the Swamiji was sitting in the front. He said, "See, I am working, so I am having food. You fellow, you are having such a healthy, bulky body. You are lazy, not working. In the name of becoming sadhu, you are roaming around. And you should work and eat." Vivekananda said, "I have not asked for you food. Why are you abusing me?" He kept quiet. Anyhow, the next station, when Vivekananda got down, one middle class man came running and fell at the feet of Vivekananda, and he brought a huge basket of food, and he said, "I was sleeping in my bedroom in the house. Rama appeared in my darshan and said, 'I am coming, bring food for me.' And he showed your form and name, and he told me to come and give food for you." Vivekananda said, "I don't know you. Are you mistaken?" He said, "No, you are the person, and Rama showed me the wound in the right eyebrow." It's a very funny thing. Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi, Vivekananda, J. Krishnamurti, Osho, see all their photo, the right eyebrow wound will be there. I am really surprised. How come this right eyebrow wound and see all their close-up photographs? Mine also. I don't know how the mystical connection. Anyhow, he showed me the right eyebrow wound. If you read the Vivekananda's biography, you will see. I asked him to feed you. Then okay, Vivekananda was eating. When Vivekananda was eating that banya, that guy, that that businessman, that fellow got frightened. He understood the whole scene. And he thought, oh, he's a Paramahamsa, he's a sadhu. I abused him, he came and fell at the feet of Vivekananda and cried, "Forgive me for my mistake, don't punish me, don't curse me." Vivekananda said, "Don't worry, go. It's okay. And I am not angry." The station master saw this whole thing. How that businessman abused him, and how Vivekananda was patient, and how this guy, this one devotee had the darshan and brought the food, and he saw the whole thing. And he was a seeker. Those days, having job under British, especially in railways, is a big thing. If you talk to any Indian big family, they will say, "My father was working in railways." That is something like a great achievement. Having job in the railways is like almost you are like a governor. Working under British is like you are like a governor. So, this guy, but he's a seeker, he's station master. He came and fell at the feet of Swamiji, Vivekananda, and begged, "Please bless me and give me sannyas." Then he says, Vivekananda says, "Are you ready to give up everything?" This station master says, "Everything." "All right, then run out, drop all your clothes now. Wear only the line clothes. Go around and beg in the coolies, all the coolies who worked under you till this moment." And this guy immediately writes the resignation paper. He is the master, so he can't give it to anybody. So he keeps it on his table for next person to come and take it. And throws all his clothes, wears the line cloth, goes around begging from the coolies, station coolies, porters, who were working under him till one moment before, till half an hour before. Vivekananda was shocked, the renunciation, the vairagya, strength. Then he initiates him and gives the title immediately Sadananda. First sannyas of Ramakrishna order. The power of aparigraha, living with minimal things. And this Vairagyananda, I was talking about this Vairagyananda. This guy gets the darshan of Sharada Devi as the Devi, and then Sharada Devi initiates him to sannyas. Then after the initiation, Sharada Devi tells him, you can do Pada Puja now to my feet. He did Pada Puja and offered the kumkum. Then after the Pada Puja, she says, take this kumkum. He took the kumkum and kept it with him little bit. And this guy was sick in his last moments in Haridwar. He did not have one disciple, single disciple. I was there in Haridwar at the time, so I was taking care of him. My only job was, I'll travel and if I find any sadhu sick, I'll take care of him. That was my job. Now I'm going to make a trust for that foundation, just for that job. That's my passion. Taking care of these sick old sadhus. And I was taking care of this sadhu, this Vairagyananda. Just the day before his passing away, 2 days before his passing away, he called me and he gave me one small packet in which that kumkum was there. The Sharada Devi's feet dust. He gave it to me and he said, this is my only possession. I am handing over this to you. Please have it. As per the rule of the Panchapuri Sadhu Samadhi, as per the rule of the Sadhu community in Haridwar, the brahmachari who serves the sannyasi at the last moments, he is the inheritor of the property. That is the law. It is accepted by the Indian law legal system also. For sadhus, the sannyasi's property goes to a person who serves the last moments. If he is not made any bill. So, I served him. He gave me that kumkum. Anyhow, I accepted. I did not serve him for the property. I served him for my respect. Yeah, I accepted that. And next day, the third day, early morning, he just sat up and went into samadhi and left the body. Then we all did what needs to be done, and he said, I don't have money for burying or cremation, put my body into Ganga. It's called Jala Samadhi. Even in that aparigraha means living with less things. It is shock. And this is the most powerful shock. And we took the body, put it in a small box with a stone, and offered it to the Ganges, Jala Samadhi. We came back. All the senior sadhus, they wanted to take his ashram and hand over to me. I said, no, I am not going to stay in one place. They said, we will hand over formally to you, you give it to somebody and go. This is the Panchapuri Sadhu Samaj law. So when they took me to the place, everyone was shocked, not even one tumbler was there. Can you imagine? Even a glass was not there. We asked the neighbor, how this Swami lived without even having a glass, how he used to eat or sleep. He said, no, some devotee will bring food, he will eat in the same plate and send the plate back. How he will drink water? Outside his ashram there is a government tap, he will come there and drink water and go and lie down. Can you understand? Literally lived with nothing. I don't know how you guys will understand. Really lived with nothing. Can you imagine the man in the planet Earth just 10 years before? It happened in 1999. Sorry, maybe 1998. Only 10 years before. 10 years before, lived in the planet Earth without anything more than 100 years. He was more than 100 when I was taking care of him. Can you imagine? And at least this guy did not have an organization. I will tell you another one story. Who was the head of the organization? Lived like this. One Swami Tapasyananda. He is the vice president of Ramakrishna Mission, International Ramakrishna Mission. In Ramakrishna Mission, as per the rule, president is not legal member. He is legally out of everything. Vice president is the legal member. He is legally head. He is the head of Ramakrishna Mission. Practically, legally, he is the head of Ramakrishna Mission. Tapasyananda. Please understand. Head of 2 lakh crore property. Almost $50 billion property. Tapasyananda. Any of you have heard about him? He was staying in Bangalore, Chennai Ramakrishna Mission. Highest tapasvi I have ever heard. The highest form of tapasvi, even without enlightenment. He was not enlightened. But a great sadhu. He translated Bhagavatam into English. And his Bhagavatam is very popular in English. This guy, same way. One day he was little sick and he sat up, called all the disciples who were studying under him, told them he was taking some class, some Vivekachudamani or Vedanta Paribhasha, some scriptures. And he told, all right, today finish everything. I am not going to take the class from tomorrow. They were shocked because he is such a hard worker. He said, why Swamiji will not take the class from tomorrow? Because I am dying. He said, I have decided to die tomorrow. Just next day morning, got ready, prepared himself, and died. That's all. And after the death, as per the tradition, the body has to be washed, and they have to put the new clothes. In their room, they searched. Finally, they found only one more towel with him. Please understand. No cot, no bed, no mattress, no mat, nothing. They found only one extra towel, owner of $50 billion.